Welcome to a special edition of the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast, where coffee professional Scott Rao answers your questions. It's yes or no with Scott Rao.
Thanks, Brioni, and thank you for joining us for episode 56 of the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. It's a special edition where Scott Rao answers your questions. Yes or no with Scott Rao.
The Scott
Rao has agreed to answer questions for us on this show, the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. It's crazy.
Not just any question.
Your questions.
Your questions.
Your questions. So sling them into us, Mike at orangecactuscoffee.com, Jacob at orangecactuscoffee.com. Hit us up on Twitter at orangecactusaz. Now, this is by no means an endorsement by Scott Rao for Orange Cactus Coffee. Anything we decide to sell or anything that we're doing. All it really is, there you go, I know it's funny.
Is his thoughts, or our thoughts and our words are our own. And,
yes.
And he does not endorse. What is that disclaimer that they usually say on those shows?
Yeah, like retweet is not an endorsement.
Yeah.
Like on Twitter. Or yeah. Or don't go try this at home.
The artist's expressions and endorsements are his own, and by no way
a reflection of the parent company. Exactly. Scott Rao is doing this for you. And when I say you, I mean me as well.
Yes.
He is answering questions to increase the level of coffee awesomeness throughout the industry. So, newbies, bring it on.
Yeah.
Coffee professionals, bring it on.
It's exciting.
All right, let's run it.
Let's get into it.
Yes or no with Scott Rao.
Hi, my name is Scott Rao. I'm a consultant for coffee roasting companies, and I write books about coffee making. Jake and Mike of Orange Cactus have asked me onto the show to answer questions for listeners on occasion. This week's question deals with sweetness and acidity in coffee. The questioner asks,
I don't like acidic coffees, but I like coffee with sweetness. That's the gist of what some customers tell me when they're asking for coffee recommendation. In my mind, it's the acidity that gives the sweetness, and I have to wonder if it's the emotional impression of acidity being bad and sweetness being good that the customers are reacting to. What is your interpretation?
That's a great question. Acidity and sweetness are related, but I think people too readily oversimplify them as bad and good. So the questioner goes on and asks the question in 3 parts. I'm going to address each part separately here. Part 1 is,
Can you have much sweetness without acidity?
in theory you could, but it would probably be impossible to make coffee with a lot of sweetness and without acidity unless you doctored it. So I would propose an experiment to create a close approximation. Go ahead and make some cold brew coffee or buy some. If you buy it, make sure that no hot water was involved in the brewing. Cold brew has some acidity, but much, much less than hot brewed coffee. Taste it black. What you'll notice is that the coffee is chocolatey and smooth, but very flat tasting. Now add 1/2 of a pack of sugar and stir it into the cold brew. Taste it again. That's probably as close as you can come to low acid coffee with a lot of sweetness. Personally, I think that too much sweetness without much acidity is boring, but some people like it. The second part of the question is
there a quality of acidity that is separate from sweetness?
the answer is yes, they are different things, though some sugars have acidic characteristics. I want listeners to understand that sweetness reduces the sensation of acidity. For example, lemon juice and Coca-Cola have approximately the same pH and therefore about the same acidity level. But the sweetness in Coke reduces the sensation of acidity and makes it seem much less sharp or sour than lemon juice. Likewise, as an aside, sweetness and saltiness counteract bitterness in coffee. So if you were to add sugar or salt to coffee, you'll notice that the perception of bitterness goes down. The third part of the question is,
How would you differentiate them? Or is it more about balance, acidity, but not too much?
the answer is yes, it is all about balance. To the average consumer, acidic is a bad thing. They may think of it as sharp, sour, or even caustic. But acidity also gives coffee its liveliness and its snap. In balance, acidity is probably the most important contributor to coffee flavor. Acid-free coffee would be very boring to most of us. The bottom line is that it's all about balance, and everyone's preferred balance will differ. Thanks for the question, and thanks for listening.
Yes or no with Scott Rao.
What'd you think of that answer, Mike?
You know, that question is, I don't think it's by no means a new question. I think it's one that's been asked for quite a while. And especially as we're promoting third wave coffee and these bright acidic coffees.
Yeah.
And for me, when I first heard the term acidic, I was thrown off by it. I think, acid, stomach acid.
Yeah,
Bad.
not good.
I don't
it's
want
bad.
that.
Yeah. Car battery acid. That's not good. You don't want to drink that.
Yeah. So there definitely is a lot of merit to this question, and it is a big hurdle, I think, with bringing many people to the specialty coffee side. I will be honest and say that his answer was probably the best answer I've ever heard in explaining how to understand how that relates with sweetness. I think the examples he gave regarding the comparison with Coke, right, and lemon juice.
Yeah.
I need to read this.
Mind blown.
Basically, where they're very similar in acidic properties, but because one has sugar, is sweeter, it reduces how noticeable that is.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant, and so that's him. In my mind, making it really click that there's a balance.
Yeah.
There is a big balance, and not only that, he gave us all a little experiment to go and try.
Little homework to go try.
And that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it.
I'm going to go try it
Because
as well.
we've always argued, or not argued so much, we agree, but we've debated how cold brew coffee is so bland and dull.
Well, that's what he said. It's low acidity, but it is dull. The flavors are dull.
Yeah.
The way he articulated it is better than, well, obviously he's Scott Rao, and we're, we're a couple of
Rewind
bums.
it, listen to it again.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds much better.
Yeah.
But it made sense.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. So that was awesome. Thank you so much to Scott for taking the time to answer our questions, your questions. And if you got them, sling them.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Please do. We need it.
Great. You're really good at this.
I'm just so excited.
So excited indeed to have you joining us. Thank you so much for listening. You can find the show notes at orangecactuscoffee.com/episode 56. And again, if you'd like your question to be answered by Scott Rao, send us an email, jacob@orangecactuscoffee.com, mike@orangecactuscoffee.com. Hit us up on Twitter or Instagram. You can DM us. Don't send your questions to Scott. Go ahead and send them to us, and we will get them over there to him. Also, send your name or your handle, however you want us to identify you and introduce you. So appreciate your time. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next time.